Hey everyone, Mr. Hauk here. In today's video, we're going to be classifying conic sections based off the general form equation. Let's go ahead and get started. So recall that the general form equation of a conic section is given by the following formula, or the equation rather. ax squared plus by squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0, where a and b are the coefficients of x squared and y squared, d and e are the coefficients of x and y, and f is a constant. So the purpose of today's video, and it's going to be a relatively short video, is to be able to classify conic sections based off of the general equation. The flowchart below is going to help us classify the type of conic that we're working with. And really what it's going to boil down to is looking at a and b, the coefficients of x squared and y squared. Really these pieces here, dx plus ey plus f, are not going to help us classify the conic. So we're just going to focus on a and b. So to start, with the classifying problem, we're going to look at, is a or b equal to 0? So if either the coefficient of x squared or y squared is equal to 0, then we would have a parabola. And what that basically means, if a was 0, let's pretend this was a 0, well, 0x squared would completely get rid of the x squared term and you wouldn't have an x squared. If b was 0, well, 0 times y squared would completely get rid of the y squared term, and you would only have an x squared. So if you're missing either an x squared or a y squared, that means you have a parabola. But let's say that neither a or b was 0, then the next question you would ask yourself is a equal to b? So if the coefficient of x squared and y squared, if a and b are equal to each other, then we would have a circle. But let's say a was not equal to b. Then we would ask ourselves, do a and b have the same sign? If the answer is yes, then we have an ellipse. So let's say that, for example, a was 3 and b was 2. Those are two positive numbers, so they have the same sign. They're not equal to each other though, so it's not a circle. So this would be an example of an ellipse. And then lastly, let's say a and b don't have the same sign. They weren't equal to each other, and neither one of them was a 0. Then we would have a hyperbola. So let's see a few example practice problems here. For each one of these, I've gone ahead and labeled the type of conic that we're dealing with, but let's go through and verify why each conic has been labeled the way it has. In our first example here, we have negative x squared plus 10x plus y minus 21 equals 0. Notice the coefficient of x squared, which is a, is negative 1. But there is no y squared term, so b is 0. If either a or b is 0, you have a parabola. Next, we have 3x squared plus y squared plus 3x plus y minus 4 equals 0. Notice that a is equal to 3, b is equal to 1, because the coefficient of y squared is 1. Well, neither of those is 0. They're not equal to each other, so it's not a circle. But they do both have the same sign. They're both positive. So this is an example of an ellipse. In our next example, x squared minus y squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. A is 1, b is negative 1. Neither of them are 0, so it's not a parabola. The two numbers are not equal to each other, so it's not a circle. And the two numbers do not have the same sign. A is positive, b is negative. So this is an example of a hyperbola. In our next example, x squared plus y squared plus 6x minus 2y plus 9 equals 0. A is 1, b is 1. Neither of them are 0, so it's not a parabola. However, they are equal to each other. A is 1 and b is 1, so this is an example of a circle. Next, negative 9x squared plus y squared minus 72x minus 153 equals 0. Well, a is negative 9, b is positive 1. Neither of them is 0, so it's not a parabola. They're not equal to each other, so it's not a circle. And they don't have the same sign, so it's not an ellipse. Therefore, this is a hyperbola. 9x squared plus 4y squared minus 54x minus 8y minus 59 equals 0. That's a mouthful there. A is 9, b is 4. Again, neither a or b is 0, so it's not a parabola. They are not equal to each other, so it's not a circle, but they do share the same sign. They're both positive, so this is an example of an ellipse. X squared plus 2x plus y minus 1 equals 0. We can see that a is 1. However, we don't have a y squared, so there is the b term basically is 0. So a is 1, but since there's no y squared, b equals 0. Since one of them is 0, this is a parabola. And then lastly, there is no a term because there is no x squared, so a is 0. And the b term, the coefficient of y squared, is -2. We see that one of a or b is equal to 0, so again, this is a parabola. As you can see, it's pretty quick and easy to determine whether a conic written in general form is it's pretty easy to classify the conic when it's written in general form. The assignment that you're going to have today and for this digital learning day is going to be pretty much the same. You'll find it's a pretty quick exercise.